Today we have to study base. First of all, we have to study classification of base. Classification of base. पहला strong base. दूसरा weak base. Strong base are those bases which completely dissociate into ions. For example, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide. Only these hydroxides are strong base because these bases on dissolving in water completely dissociate into ions, and these bases are highly corrosive. But weak bases, those bases which do not completely dissociate into hydroxide ion. For example, ZnOH का whole twice, zinc hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide, aluminium hydroxide, etc. ये सब जो है, these are the weak bases. Now we have to classify the base on the basis of number of displaceable hydroxide ions. That is monoacidic base. Monoacidic base. Monoacidic base are those bases which have only one displaceable hydroxide ion. For example, NaOH, KOH, etc. These are the monoacidic base. Now we have to consider diacidic base. Diacidic base. These bases have two displaceable hydroxide ions. For example, calcium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide, zinc hydroxide, etc. Triacidic base. Triacidic base. These bases have three displaceable hydroxide ions. These bases have three displaceable hydroxide ions. Example, aluminium hydroxide. Now we have to study the properties of base. Water soluble bases are known as alkali. All bases are not water soluble. Water soluble bases are known as alkali. As for example, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide, etc. Now we have to study the physical properties of base. The bases have bitter in taste. Bases have bitter in taste. Soapy in touch, but do not touch corrosive strong base because strong bases are highly corrosive. Bases, water soluble bases are known as alkali, and these bases conduct electricity because on dissolving in water, it dissociates into ions. Now we have to study the chemical properties of bases. First, reaction of some bases with metals. Some bases react with metals, produce salt and hydrogen gas, similar to acid, but maximum acids combine all metals which are above the hydrogen in reactivity series, produce salt and hydrogen gas. But only some bases react with some selective metals to produce salt and hydrogen gas. As for example, NaOH plus Zn, sodium zincate Na2ZnO2 plus H2. अब इसे now I have to balance it. It should be multiplied by 2, and now it is the balanced chemical. Sodium hydroxide also combined with aluminium. It forms sodium meta-aluminate NaAlO2 plus H2. Sodium meta-aluminate. Sodium meta-aluminate. You have to balance self. Now we have to study second property, that is reaction of base with non-metal oxide. Non-metal oxides. For example, sodium hydroxide. When carbon dioxide gas is passed through the aqueous solution of sodium hydroxide, it forms Na2CO3 plus H2O. Sodium carbonate plus water. Similarly, if you pass sulfur dioxide gas NaOH plus sulfur dioxide Na2SO3 sodium sulfide plus H2O. Similarly, if you have passed carbon dioxide gas through calcium hydroxide, it forms calcium carbonate plus H2O. So we have studied the reaction of base with non-metal oxide. Now we have to study reaction of base with acid. As we know that acid-base reaction, that is also known as neutralization reaction. It is very fast reaction. Acids or bases combine with each other very fast to form salt and water. This is also known as neutralization reaction because it in this chemical reaction, the acidity of acid and the basicity of base also lost and form neutral compound, that is salt and water. So, third, reaction of base with acid. It is also known as neutral neutralization reaction. Neutralization reaction. Bases combine with acid very fast to form salt and water. For example, sodium hydroxide combine with HCl to form sodium chloride and water. It is neutral salt and water is also neutral. So it is also known as neutralization reaction. Next example, calcium hydroxide plus H2SO4, calcium sulfate plus water. Next example, aluminium hydroxide plus HCl, it forms aluminium chloride plus H2O. It also combined with calcium hydroxide plus H3PO4, phosphoric acid. It forms calcium phosphate Ca3PO4 का whole twice plus H2O. Now you have to balance it. Ca3, it should be multiplied by 3. PO4 2 times, it should be multiplied by 2, and water will be 6H2O. So these are known as neutralization reaction. Now we have to study the amphoteric behavior of bases. Amphoteric behavior of some bases. Some bases which have dual character, which combine with acid as well as base. So some bases are shows acidic character as well as basic character are known as amphoteric bases. For example, aluminium hydroxide, zinc hydroxide, amphoteric behavior of some bases. Some bases. Amphoteric. Amphoteric, it means some bases which show acidic character as well as base character. It means some bases combine with acid as well as base to form salt and water. And so these are known as amphoteric behavior of some bases. Amphoteric bases. Aluminium hydroxide, zinc hydroxide, lead hydroxide, these are the amphoteric bases. Amphoteric bases. These are the amphoteric bases. Now we have to clarify with examples, with chemical reaction. As for example, aluminium hydroxide, it reacts with HCl, it is acid, and hence it show basic character, base AlCl3 plus 3H2O, it should be multiplied by 3. Now we have to study aluminium hydroxide with sodium hydroxide. It combined with sodium hydroxide to form sodium meta-aluminate, NaAlO2 plus 2H2O. Sodium meta-aluminate. Sodium meta-aluminate. It is. Now sodium hydroxide is a strong base. It is base. Here it shows acidic character. It is not acid, but here it acts as acid. So we consider aluminum hydroxide so acidic character as well as basic character. So we can say aluminum hydroxide is amphoteric base. Next, example, zinc hydroxide. React with HCl to form ZnCl2 plus 2H2. ZnOH all twice react with sodium hydroxide. Sodium zincate Na2ZnO2 plus H2O. 2ZnO2 plus 2H2. Sodium zincate. Sodium zincate. Now we have to study the lead hydroxide. Sodium plumbate Na2PbO2 plus 2H2. Sodium plumbate. In these chemical reaction, we study some bases are amphoteric because these bases react with acid as well as base and so dual character. Now we have to study reaction of now we have finished the properties of base. Thank you. All the best.